I've been thinking about this for a while. How can we make trucking better? How can we work together to make the industry better? So I think it's time now to introduce everyone to my idea to make trucking better. Let's see what you think. Let's talk about the United Federation of Commercial Drivers. Hello, and welcome to Trucking Answers. I'm Mark, your Federation ambassador. The United Federation of Commercial Drivers is born out of the idea that large companies, mainly large companies, get away with a lot in the industry because they have lobbyists. They're forever in the news. The ATA always asked about things. Oh, shortage, let's go talk to the ATA. Oh, let's talk to this, let's go talk to the ATA. When I write to a place, they're like, this is just one dude. Let's, ignore him. Or every once in a while I'll get in something, but not as often as it needs to be. And the press is not informed of these things because large carriers, especially in their hometowns, they'll do little stuff. They'll send people out to clean the roads up or whatever and buy a sign that says, hey, we took care of 1 mile of the interstate. And so they get favorable press, and they probably shouldn't. Other organizations try to change things through legislation. They'll go to Washington, they send lobbyists, they forever talk to politicians, let's get this rule changed, and then maybe a few years later they get one thing changed a little bit, a couple percent in the driver's favor. That takes too long. These large companies, they're grabbing people right out of truck school, using them up and spitting them out. Kind of like a revolving door right there. People come right in and they're coming right back out the same door and not even being sent home. They're being sent home at their own expense. They're not even being sent home at the company expense. People are made to sit and without being paid. There's so many issues. Trucking can be a great career for people if we just get the bad actors out of there. But they've got too much power because we're all spread out and we don't come together to take them on. Well, it's time to take them on. So is birthed the United Federation of Commercial Drivers. That makes me a birthing person. That's very good. That's very hilarious. Here's what I envision for the UFCD in the future as we get members. There's already a private Facebook page for the group. So members can go there and join the private Facebook page. This is where we'll discuss things. You can post stuff like bad shippers, bad receivers, places that don't have bathrooms, that kind of thing. Bad companies where you're sitting, you're not being paid, all this kind of stuff. We can discuss all that, where we're going to be, what we're going to do about this thing. That's one thing that'll go on. I'd like to get an attorney on board as we get members that would give drivers discounted or even free, depending on what it costs, lawyer letters. Because many people are booted out of a company and then part of their check or all of their check is withheld illegally. A lawyer might say, if I was one, which I'm not. But instead of you just calling and you writing them, oh, I need my money, what if you had a lawyer on your side? Well, as a member, maybe you could get that lawyer letter down in price. Maybe it wouldn't be a few $100s. Maybe it'd only be $50. That might be worth sending a lawyer letter. Put the screws to some of these companies. Make them pay up the money that they're supposed to legally pay. I see other advocacy like billboards. So picture this, a company does something or is in the news for something, we buy a billboard. You can do this electronically all over the country, all right? We put up a billboard, especially I can just love it if there was a billboard right at a company's headquarters, right there or something, and we can put an arrow that says, don't work here, something like that. That kind of thing would be hilarious. And each time some of these things happen, right, we tell the press, hey, look at this billboard, right? We send a bunch of letters there and get ourselves in the news because we're working together to make this happen. When companies have people sit around or do other things to them, we all get together for a few days and call them up. We call the recruiters and ask questions. This can only work, though, if we work together at it. If they couldn't get any recruiting calls, that'd be a problem. Everybody that calls asks them a question and says, hey, contact Mark, the United Federation of Commercial Drivers. He's going to explain to you why we're calling. What if they had hundreds of those calls going on and on and on? Remember, Google Voice numbers are free. You don't even have to call from your own number. All we're doing is asking a question. What we'll do is ask them a question. Why aren't drivers paid for this? Some specific thing. We'll pick out a company and we'll do that and we'll get answers. They will be forced to answer. How about a bullhorn? What if we went and yelled at a company with a bullhorn? The thing about that, what we do is call the press and have them there. This stuff sounds ridiculous, but I'll tell you what, this works. This is the PETA idea, which I wrote in my award-winning blog just recently about this. They go out and they do these kind of crazy things, but you know what they get? Press. You know, they get in the press, and big companies, huge companies, cave. They bend. They do what they're being asked to do because they work together. They get a bunch of like-minded people that join and work together. We also use social media to our advantage, the same kind of way. The same way. We all put out the same kind of thing right away, bombard the press, the media, with the same kind of messaging. There's a problem, we can go to a press and say, hey, call, representatives from the UFCD, see what they have to say about it. Just like that. We'll get in the news. We'll get our message out there. But we can only do it if we're together. We can't do it as just one person who's trying to do it. We actually have to be members and come together. That's how the ATA works. That's how these other organizations work, including PETA. AARP is another great one, right? That's good at this kind of stuff. They have so many members. And they know that when the AARP calls, they know it's not just them calling, but it's all their members that are going to hear the answer. This is how trucking changes. Want to get paid for our time? We want to get minimum wage? Absolutely. Now there's a driver bill of rights up as well. And I'd like your comments and thoughts about whether this is good, these are good, and how these kind of things should be changed as we shape this. And there'll be a link in the description to go over and check this out, which I'd like everybody to do. Give me your ideas. What other things should be in the Bill of Rights? Am I wrong on some of these things? Like drivers shouldn't be on the Greyhound, for example. If there's no bathroom where some driver goes, this kind of thing bothers me a lot, right? The company ought to call that place up and say, look, no bathroom, no load. That's what we want. There's no reason a driver should have to sit 8, 10, 12 hours, 14 hours without a bathroom. What kind of thing is that? They can't come out in one hand, oh, you're a hero, and then the other hand, oh, you have to go in a bush. I mean, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And it needs to change, and it can change. We can change trucking. We can make trucking what it should be. Just a few tweaks, and it gets better, because there's really not that many bad players, but they're out there so much that they churn through the industry, like a wrecking ball. They come in like a wrecking ball. See what I did for the young people? So that gets them involved, because that's a young, that's a thing. Look, I made just about wrecking ball, but I'm serious about the United Federation of Commercial Drivers. And as it grows, it just gets better. So I'd like you to share this. Go check out the page, right? It's just getting started. Go share this message with others wherever you can. Get people to join. The more joiners, the better it gets. Now, initially, there's not going to be action right away. You can't join and say, Mark, I joined 3 days ago. What's happening? Why isn't trucking changed? Okay, it's going to take a little time, but we can change trucking if we come together and work together on stuff. Are you willing to do that, to change it for the better for everybody? We can't just be doing anything with just blinders on. We've got to make it better for everybody. That makes life better for the whole country. So check out the page, join the organization. Let me know what you think. Remember, hey, by the way, podcast every Tuesday, Friday, weather permitting. Download the Trucking Answers podcast from your favorite podcasting app. How about that for a shameless plug for the podcast? That's right. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with another Trucking Answers.